Look around you. Open up any social media app, listen to any podcast, or walk into a modern therapist's office, and you'll hear the exact same advice being echoed to men who are quietly drowning. Talk about your feelings. Just open up. Accept yourself. Be vulnerable. It sounds incredibly nice, doesn't it? It sounds like the perfect, empathetic solution to a mental health crisis that is taking out an entire generation of guys. But here's the uncomfortable truth that nobody wants to admit. It isn't working. In fact, for a lot of men, that specific advice actually makes the darkness deeper. We are currently living through a male depression epidemic of unprecedented proportions. And the reason we aren't solving it is because we are trying to treat male depression exactly like female depression. We built a cultural framework that tells a man he just needs to feel loved and accepted, when the fundamental reality of male psyche is entirely different. When a man is spiraling into depression, he doesn't just want a soft blanket and reassurance that he's perfect the way he is. What he actually wants, what he desperately starves for, is to feel capable and powerful. There's a brilliant insight by Williamson that perfectly encapsulates this disconnect, and it completely changed how I look at the issue. He noted that male depression gets treated like female depression. Men are made to feel loved and accepted when all they want to feel is capable and powerful. Give a man a purpose and the ability to achieve it, he will crawl over broken glass with a smile, feeling capable and powerful and competent and respected. Admired is something that will get a man so far. You give a man those things and he will deal with suffering until the end of the earth. That phrase, crawling over broken glass with a smile, stuck with me for months because it hits on a primal truth that modern society has tried desperately to socialize out of us. A man doesn't break down because life is hard or because he has to suffer. Men are built to endure hardship. We are structurally designed to carry weight. We don't break down when life is difficult. We break down when the difficulty feels entirely meaningless. When you tell a struggling guy to just sit with his feelings and accept his weakness, you are stripping away the exact tool he uses to fight his way out of the pit. You're telling a warrior to lay down his sword and then wondering why he feels defenseless against his enemies. A man derives his core sense of self-worth from his utility, from his competence, and from his ability to impact the world around him. If you take away his agency, you make him feel like he is entirely surplus to requirements. No amount of soft validation will ever cure the rot in his soul. The reality is that a lot of men don't just need to feel loved in the abstract, sentimental way we always talk about. They need to be noticed, appreciated, and acknowledged. They need to know with absolute certainty that their grueling efforts, their late nights, their quiet sacrifices, and their daily endurance aren't for nothing. They want to be relied on. It is woven directly into our DNA, etched into our genes through thousands of generations of human evolution. Our biology drives us to want to be dependable, to be the rock that doesn't crack under pressure. For the vast majority of human history, a man's survival and the survival of everyone he cared about depended entirely on his reliability. If he wasn't dependable, the fire went out, the shelter collapsed, and the hunt failed, and the tribe suffered. A deep-seated genetic coding didn't just vanish because we invented smartphones and office cubicles. The modern world has engineered a landscape where a man can live his entire life without ever being truly needed for anything vital. And we wonder why male anxiety and depression are skyrocketing. We've replaced the profound weight of responsibility with the empty lightness of digital distraction. And men are suffocating under the weightlessness of it all. Think about the typical advice given to a young guy who feels lost today. He's told to practice self-care, to pamper himself, to step back from the competitive arenas of life because they are labeled as toxic or unnecessary. But when he follows that advice, he looks in the mirror and sees someone who isn't participating in the arena. He sees someone who isn't building, isn't protecting, and isn't providing. He feels entirely useless. And in the male vocabulary, feeling useless is just a stepping stone to deep, paralyzing despair. Society looks at this hollowed out man and diagnoses it as low self-esteem, prescribing unconditional affirmation. But affirmation without achievement feels like an outright lie to a man's brain. If I tell myself I'm great, but my daily actions show that I haven't done anything to earn that greatness, my internal radar flags it as counterfeit. Men are hyper-aware of their own incompetence. We don't want to be lied to with sweet platitudes. We want to be tested by reality. We want to know that if things go sideways, we are the ones people will call. We want to feel capable, competent, respected, and admired. Those aren't just ego-driven, superficial desires. They are the high-octane fuel that powers a man's psychological engine. You give a man those things, you give him a mountain to climb and a reason to climb it, and he will deal with suffering until the end of the earth without a single complaint. If we want to actually solve this epidemic, we have to change the narrative entirely. We need to stop treating men like broken projects that need to be fixed with emotional therapy speak, and start treating them like dormant engines that need to be started with purpose. We need to tell young men that it is okay to want power, as long as it is the power to build, protect, and create. It is okay to want to be capable, competent, and dangerous in the face of life's challenges. We need to look at the men in our lives, our brothers, our fathers, our friends, and instead of just giving them a superficial pat on the back, we need to genuinely notice their efforts. We need to tell them, I see what you're doing, I see the weight you're carrying, and I appreciate it. We need to give them a reason to feel dependable again, because at the end of the day, a man who knows he is needed, a man who knows his strength is the only thing standing between his people and chaos, will never give up. He will look at the broken glass ahead of him, he will take a deep breath, and he will start crawling with a smile on his face, because he knows exactly who he is and why he matters. All he needs is a hill to climb and a burden to bear, and the knowledge that his presence truly makes a difference. Thank you for watching.